Willkommen, everyone. I'm Ray, and do you still say Merry Christmas? I have no idea, actually. Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates, and happy weekend for everyone who doesn't. I mean, weekends always also enough reason to celebrate, right? Guys, we are going to check out, I think we're at chapter 5 and 6. Last time we met Plank and Schrödinger. And yeah, we discovered that I'm a really, really big sim for Planck. When they met Planck and Schrödinger, they first went to eat something where Planck tricked Tesla. And then it was said that on the next day, they are going to visit the site. So I think we're getting into it right away, right? Merry Christmas! Here we are. Oh, with my new favorite character. Destination Yellowstone Lake. Let's go! Early next morning, as Plank steps on the accelerator, the plump Volkswagen Type 2 camper van spits out a thick puff of hot air, then trundles forth, carrying everyone westwards out of Billings. Soon after boarding the van, the four in the rear began to doze off, toppling and sprawling over the seats, probably because they had woken up so early. Laurel, Park City, Columbus, Reed Point, Greycliff, Big Timber. A number of small, quaint colonial towns line the winding Yellowstone River. They have been scattered about throughout the Montana wilderness in a disorderly but picturesque fashion, thus giving this vast landscape a touch of the human spark. Despite having traveled along this route many times, Schrödinger continues to silently admire the bleak scenery outside the window. Oh, Montana, so pleasant. This wilderness, filled with serenity, is most suited for emptying your mind and calming your mood. It would be better if there were fewer people. Ada, would you like Alaska then? No, this is enough. No matter how you look at it, there are too many mountains near Anchorage? Ah, Siberia might be nice. It's just that Russians have too strong a body odor, so I suppose I might not tolerate it. What? Even when Canada is just to the north, you really favor the exotic over the familiar, don't you? Canada, including the Yukon region near Alaska, was all completely submerged by the Arctic ice sheet during the last ice age. Teacher, do you reasonably think we'll ever be given an opportunity to work over there? Be that as it may, but Siberia isn't under our jurisdiction at all, yeah? Yes, but the Babylon laboratory is there. Isn't that the place where they send anyone who disobeys the overseer for human experimentation? Oh! That was a cruel joke. That was a joke, oh my god. And not at all funny. Teacher, you are always reluctant to consider the negative possibilities. Schrödinger continued to leisurely play with her corkscrew curl, as if the admonishment was of no concern to her. The uncertainty principle. The world changes with human observation. If you only focus on cute and pretty things, then it'll transform into a fragile porcelain doll. Huh, that's really interesting. Oh, okay, I want to hear more from her now. Speaking of porcelain dolls, Einstein has always been a lot cuter than you, Dr. Schrödinger. Schrödinger halted her fiddling of her single corkscrew curl, her finger frozen in mid-air, possibly because the jump in topic had been so unexpected. You Austrians will need to practice for another 100 years if you dream of ever surpassing us Bavarians with your cruel humor. Huh. Teacher, discrimination on the basis of nationality is unbecoming behavior. Yes, that's right. Uh-huh. That is why you still need to cultivate yourself. Not only is your entire person steeped in Sturm und Drang, but you are also a little out of touch with the common sensibilities. How can you ever find a boyfriend like this? Is Plank German? Or is she Japanese? Or is she American. Is she all of it? That's really interesting how she switches. I don't think finding a boyfriend is of her concern right now. So, isn't that convincing enough as a reason for change? Schrödinger sighs helplessly. Must I really say this? Teacher, this is all about your own anxiety of being single. Isn't it getting a bit out of hand? Oh, you meanie, that was totally not cute at all. Oh, nice picture again, yay! Oh, I really like this. And I also really like... I mean, the dynamic is a little weird. And Plank really just focuses on... I mean, the things she wants to focus on, right? But I don't know, I enjoy her character. Maybe it's also those two together, because that's fun. When Welt opens his sleepy eyes once more, he sees that the driver of the Volkswagen Type 2 camper van had been replaced by a gloomy corkscrew ponytail. In the front passenger seat, a pair of long legs are propped up against the windshield. A skirt is slipping to one side in a rather ungraceful manner, and loose strands of long hair cascade down the back of the seat like a waterfall. Also, the professor happens to be snoring in a rather unladylike manner. I mean, she can't help it. Just out of Livingston. Now we are driving south along Route 89. Schrödinger explains the current situation, having noticed through the rear view mirror that someone is now awake. Then let's check out the situation in Yellowstone first. It seems that Einstein too had already awoken some time ago, peeling open her seemingly drowsy eyes. Shouldn't we let those two continue to rest for a while? Plank speaks with her eyes closed. It seems that she too didn't really fall asleep after all. This drunkard has slept long enough. Without another word, the mophead with light-colored hair punches the red twin tails on the head. Oh. Ow, 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 ow! Can't you be a little more gentle? Today she puts on her glasses as soon as she wakes up. Could it be that they are actually real prescription spectacles and not just plain old glasses? I mean, I think I that's what I thought. God. Talking is so difficult. Guys, I really like all of those characters so much. People with hangovers have no right to say anything. Einstein gives her a disapproving glance. Is the Finn awake too? Yo, I raise my hand. A familiar, frivolous voice transmits from the rear of the van. He seems quite energetic. Now that everyone is awake, let us begin with the basic geographical situation. Okay. Schrödinger skillfully changes gears and slows down the van to an appropriate speed. As you know, Yellowstone Park is the first nature reserve in human history. The core of the park is Yellowstone Lake, which is the caldera or crater formed from the main vent of the Yellowstone supervolcano. This active volcano can release huge amounts of energy. If it ever erupts, the volcanic ash it brings will reduce the average global temperature by about 10 degrees for up to a year. 10 degrees. Welt doesn't quite understand the significance of Blank's point. This means that soon after the disaster, the overwhelming majority of tropical or subtropical crops will die off, resulting in failed harvest. If the response is not adequate, it is no exaggeration to say that devastating famines and plagues will spread throughout many countries. How... Relax. That's not something we should worry about in our lifetime. Schrödinger squints at Welt through the rear view mirror. What's more, if we happen to lose to the Honkai, these anxieties, they will all cease to have meaning anyway. True, Honkai are the bigger problem. Of course, if you are a little paranoid, you can also think of the Yellowstone volcano as part of a Honkai luxury extra value set meal, specially prepared for humanity's enjoyment. Set meal. The destructive nature of Honkai can manifest in a myriad ways. Red Twintails adopts the pose of a lecturer. The Black Death, the Ice Age, the World Wars, all of these had the shadow of Honkai within them. I love that! That's so interesting! Oh, so cool! Not to mention, analysis of war criminals has shown that they had often been eroded by small quantities of Honkai energy. Okay, that is really interesting. It's really kind of like Honkai is literally evil itself, right? And evil is in everyone and everything. I mean, can be in everyone and everything. That's really interesting. Indeed. There were even 1 or 2 specimens where the Honkai energy density had reached several times the lethal dose. Oh. Well, generally speaking, the metabolic circumstances of male mammals are such that they have a strong allergic response to Honkai infections. In other words, man's adaptability to Honkai is usually very low, but occasionally there are exceptions. Oh? Whether it is a male war criminal or you yourself, these are all exceptional cases. Me. Welt had never thought that his name would be associated with demonic war criminals. For a while he doesn't know how to react. Yes, you clearly have some strange exotic property that we don't yet understand. The organization has conducted so many experiments on you, a point you should already be painfully aware of. Oh, that sprite is new. No, I mean, calm down. The girl with the natural curls seated in the second row turns around and gently pats the young man's head. Aww, Ein's really cares. Your soul will not deteriorate. Deteriorate. Aww. Perhaps you have forgotten who you once were, but you are a kind and compassionate person. Is that a foreshadowing? I hope not. Oh my god, I hope she's right. There is no evidence for that, right? Trust me. There is indeed not much evidence, and I have only my intuition to depend upon here. But please, trust in me. Einstein's eyes are warm but resolute. Ahem! Alright. Let's get back to the main topic, shall we? We're here to get down to business, yeah? Very interesting business, yeah. Finally, no carbon-14 could be detected in this sample. From this comprehensive assessment, the last human activity in the ruins would have taken place at around 5000 BC, with a margin of error of no more than 1000 years. Oh, okay. That is all. It's still incredible. The Finn clasps his hand together, sinking into deep contemplation. His name is Elias, though. Or Elias. I did not expect that, during the era of the previous civilization, human activity was already present in North America. It's analogous to us having research stations in Antarctica, and it does not contradict our current understanding of the previous era. Planck absent-mindedly plays with her long hair, as if in deliberate imitation of Schrödinger from before. No. The scale of this is comparable to archaeological ruins in the Old World. Things might not be as simple as you say. Old World, interesting. I really want to know more. This is really interesting. The Finn continues to prop up his chin with his clasped hands. Where did this wannabe Sherlock Holmes fan come from? That Welt, who long ago had been scratching his head in confusion, now raises his hand. That previous era you speak of, I'm so glad he asks. What is it exactly? Now we're at... no, we haven't arrived at Gardiner yet. Professor Longhair studies the signs along the highway. It's okay, we're still early. You lad can continue to pass the time. Pick one from among yourselves to give him a primer on the subject. Then let me explain. As an expert in ancient literature, the Finn simply could not refuse the offer. The previous era, as its name implies, was a scientifically and technologically advanced civilization that once flourished on Earth, long before the beginning of our own history. Okay, so literally, A civilization that lived long before our own history. Interesting, I like that. This civilization could be traced back to the Astrakhan archaeological site number 3 from around 53,000 BC. It was characterized by a common culture and covered an enormous region, ranging from the Sea of Japan to the Mediterranean, from the Baltic Sea to the Persian Gulf. Were they also humans? Of course, they would have been the first Homo sapiens to step out of Africa. Having said that, their model of civilization was still very different from ours. Do you mean differences in lifestyle, customs, or art? No, not so. Rather, we are unexpectedly similar in many of those aspects. The so-called model I just mentioned is mainly referring to the duration and diversity of civilization. For example, our civilization today can be traced back to a few regions, such as the Middle East as early as 4000 BC. Since then, after nearly 6,000 years of propagation and expansion, we have finally formed a civilized society covering the entire globe. We have countless different nations, countless languages, countless cultures. We have a very diverse civilization. Wasn't it the same for the previous era? Guys, I love this! I'm so curious! No, they were different. Their entire world had a unified language and technological system. Oh, that's interesting! In our world, although the Greco-Roman, British and American cultures have been very influential, they remain far from reaching that level of hegemony? If we were to find a better comparison, the manner of unity is more like that of ancient East Asia, where every other nation around China uses Han Chinese characters in some form or another. So you're saying their cultural diversity was very low? Moreover, they seem to have preserved the entire American continent in a pristine, uninhabited state, just like how we are now protecting Antarctica. To put it simple, it's almost as if this land was not their primary source of economic resources. They may have started using Honkai energy on a large scale very early on. Huh? Wait, what? If that were the case, then it doesn't make sense to settle in an area lacking in Honkai energy. Just like how the metropolises of today are often situated close to seaports, river ports, and railway hubs. Isn't Honkai a shockwave or radiation-like thing? Lightning can be used to blast people to bits, yet electricity can also illuminate. The same is true for Honkai energy. That is so interesting. Oh my god, okay. Tell me more. From a physics perspective, Honkai energy, or so-called imaginary internal energy... Oh, even if I put it like that, you won't ever understand. What a headache. Imaginary internal energy is a hypothesis about the phenomenon of Honkai and the Big Bang. Einstein seemed uncharacteristically delighted to take over the explanation. Oh wow. Can I take... Oh, okay, I can take a look here. That is something. The second law of thermodynamics can be formulated as follows. She's really too excited. If the entropy of a system decreases, it will inevitably cause the entropy of another system to rise by a greater margin. From the perspective of information theory, this is equivalent to the huge information asymmetry between the ordinary environment, where information is highly chaotic, and the negative entropic environment, where information is highly ordered. Historically, research has shown that Honkai energy and this information asymmetry have a strong interrelationship. Okay. I try to follow her so bad. Mathematically, the imaginary internal energy belongs to the collapsing convergent manifold, while the so-called divergent manifold, that is, the four-dimensional space-time that we can usually perceive, contains the thermodynamic manifestation of the real internal energy. Together, these can be mathematically expressed as a higher-order complex function, and as a result, it can be used to predict Honkai fluctuations at the subatomic scale. Therefore, current researchers generally suspect that this imaginary internal energy is Honkai energy, or at least a major constituent of it. Do you guys think we get a little bit shorter and more like for idiots explanation? Okay. I tried to read it over again. It is really interesting. I still hope we get a little bit more easy to understand explanation. How about that? Do you understand a bit more now, Assistant Welt? Yeah, again, I am Welt. I understood Jack all! Passing under the Roosevelt Arc, which is engraved with the words "for the benefit and enjoyment of the people," the Volkswagen Type 2 camper van enters Wyoming along Route 89. The scholars enthusiastically discuss all manner of technical details. Welt, who barely understood even the most elementary of such details, can do nothing more than admire the scenery of the national park instead. That is really pretty though. Mammoth Hot Springs, Swan Lake, Roaring Mountain, Firehole River. Americans sure have a quirky way of naming things, and their taste for scenic place names is no less peculiar. Welt, what time is it now? Blanco had switched back to the driver's seat, suddenly seems to remember something and presses Welt for the time. Give me a moment. The young man, lacking a wristwatch, twists his body to grab the wrist of one of the girls in front of him. Oi, 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 do you choose death? Turning a deaf ear to Tesla's protests, Welt desperately puts his life on the line and focuses his eyes on the small round surface. Report for the professor. It is 10 for 43. Piss off! I think he really might die at some point. With a complete lack of restraint, Tesla flips her hand and strikes with her elbow with such force that she even dislodges her own glasses. At once, a tragic, mournful howl resonates throughout the entire van. Anyway, looks like we need to catch up. The long-haired big sister violently changes gear and immediately slams on the accelerator. Those who are here for the first time, please look to your right. The camper suddenly lurches forward, first bypassing several sapphire-colored springs, then crossing over a large bridge. Then it turns off the main highway and rushes up a relatively gentle slope, only to immediately perform a sharp brake with a 90-degree drift. We're going to crash, save us! And right at this moment, with Welt still in state of shock. What just happened? A huge column of water, about 30 to 40 meters tall, shoots high into the air from a basin behind the hillside, spewing out a large quantity of white mist, much like a volcanic eruption. Alright, okay, I get now why she wanted to go faster now. She really did not want everyone to miss it, huh? Okay, that's actually really cool. Oh, the Old Faithful Geisha! What a coincidence that we could actually see it. Oh, I don't think it's coincidence. Oh my, we've definitely hit the jackpot. Winter is indeed much more spectacular than summer. Although this attraction is named Old Faithful because it is very punctual, it actually has two intervals. 65 minutes and 91 minutes. The exact interval is said to depend on the size of each eruption. So how about that? Aren't we all very lucky today? Professor, please stop being a tease. This was no dumb luck. Especially given that the park forecasts and updates the eruption times every day. Oh, Schrödinger. Always, no matter the situation, you just say something, anything, and all sense of mystery and wonder is dispelled. Thank you, that is indeed my strength. That is some great synergy. I love that. And actually I love that we get more world building. I am still, like I said before, I'm still very curious as to how Welt, Tesla, and Einstein even got to the point that they are in anti-entropy. I'm still very, very curious what happens. Next step there, let's go. Mountain time, 11:38. We've arrived at Yellowstone Lake. Here's the lunch I've prepared for everyone in the morning. Let's eat while we walk. After a long and arduous trek, the Volkswagen Type 2 camper van how many times do they want me to say that? is finally given the chance to rest its weary engine in the West Thumb parking lot. As the group file out one by one from the camper van, Schrödinger announces the obvious details of the destination to the group in her usual stilted voice. On the north side of the parking lot, an area designated Duck Lake is surrounded by a temporary perimeter fence marked by a restricted area sign. The local police have set up a sentry box nearby. Plank gives them a cordial and familiar greeting, then leads the group through the fence into the enclosed area. Yes, we are getting into it! Passing through the fence, it becomes clear that Duck Lake had long ago been drained of water, and the lakebed now lies in full view of everyone. Welt is puzzled as to why the scene before him resembles a stone pit or quarry instead of an actual lake. Tesla furrows her brow and immediately ducks behind Welt to hide in his shadows. She seems to have noticed something. What's the matter? What rotten luck! Of all the times it could happen, it just had to be today. Huh? Lost and confused, Welt begins looking around in all directions, searching for an answer. But all he seems to notice is a group of people, dressed impeccably in black, riding an open-top elevator from the bottom of the lake heading up towards them. And this group appears to be led by a woman dressed in a masculine leisure suit and wearing a ponytail. She certainly cuts an extraordinary figure. At the same time, Welt can feel Tesla frantically tracing circles on his back with a finger. What is wrong with you, Dr. Tesla? Hi, Nancy! Already finished with your tour? Ignoring Tesla and Welt mumbling to each other, Plank greets the arriving personnel in a calm and collected manner. Ooh, who are you? Oh, she's cute. High ponytails are also. Actually, I have a feeling I say that with every hairstyle we see. I just like hairstyles, okay? The gaze of Nancy passes by Planck and Schrödinger before resting upon Einstein and the others. Are these all your students? It can be said so. The long-haired big sister narrows her eyes and stares at Welt. Actually, we are members of the Imperial Institute Lab 42. Imperial Institute? The lady in menswear appears to be stunned for a few seconds. From London? Yes. Oh. With a faint smile, she walks up to the front of Welt's face and begins staring, her two eyes gazing at a position just behind Welt's back. Oh. The hand drawing circles on his back stops, as if on cue. The lady takes one step closer. Welt feels like their noses are about to bump into each other. She has so pretty eyes. Tesla, what's wrong? Although Welt can hardly breathe properly, the other person's gaze remains fixated on a specific spot behind Welt's head, as though Welt himself is a cloud of transparent air. Awkward. Should I perhaps move out of the way? Of course, be my guest. She doesn't even bother to make proper eye contact with the young man. Oh my god. Everyone is so unhinged, I love it. Okay, so Planck is all over Einstein. And, oh god, I already forgot her name. Nancy is all over Tesla. The menswear lady extends her neck and begins sniffing around Tesla's body. What are you doing? Hey, that's sexual harassment! Einstein, Planck, Schrödinger, are you going to come and help me deal with her? Enough! What the hell are you doing? If you keep doing that, I'm going to get real angry. Oh? The menswear lady abruptly straightens her posture to an upright position. That would indeed be really scary. I have no idea what her character is right now. I'm sorry, so I have no idea how to read her yet. She seems kind of weird. I mean, she seems playful, but I don't know, something about her. I remember that one year you were just a teeny bit angry. Then you almost had my office burned down to a crisp. Isn't that right? With a faint smile, she slowly recounts word by word what apparently sounds like a rather horrifying incident. That incident was not my fault. But still, I think it was a good thing that your building burned down and collapsed, you cheapskate. On the opposite side of the ring, Tesla refuses to back down or show any weakness, instead tossing back a look of disdain. I cannot communicate with someone like you, who lacks common sense in fiscal matters. I cannot communicate with spoiled, filthy rich brats who grew up in a privilege and wealth. Do you know what kind of people I hate the most? Those who speak of liberal democracy. Those who speak of liberal democracy, or benevolence, justice, propriety, and virtue. Yet they conduct research on weapons of mass destruction, dedicated to achieving world domination. Don't you feel just a little bit conflicted, Miss Tesla? Interesting. Okay, she just got way cooler. Yes, you're not fond of inventing weapons. But do you think that even if you stop inventing new weapons, there'll be no more people dying from wars? There will be a day when both sides of a war will no longer be able to bear the cost of starting one. And that is our responsibility as inventors to bring about such a day. Is she literally... Wait. Is Tesla saying they should invent more cruel weapons so that people someday cannot bear the bear to start a war because the weapons are so terrifying? Wait, did I get that wrong? If yes, that is kind of terrifying. Guys, please tell me if did I get that right? That is... I'm with Nancy on this one, I think. Because I don't like that new weapons are developed either. I mean, yeah, people will still fight and have wars and stuff, but... Like, I think the crueler or the more powerful the weapon, the more people that have nothing to do with it will suffer with it. So, I don't know. Maybe I just got that wrong. I really don't know. This is the only way to end all war. What else did your family do apart from filling their coffers, winning the approval and praise of the pampered rich? Can there even be a higher purpose to such a lifestyle? What is this about a General Electric company, or should I say General Pathetic company? You really went ahead and said it. Of course I dare say it. I'm exercising the bare minimum of my right to free speech. Okay then. Free speech. For a loser bitch who refuses to speak politely, a minor mishap may be considered a major blessing, don't you think? The mouth of the menswear lady twitches a little, and she makes a gesture as though she is signaling for someone. What are you thinking? What are you thinking of doing? What do you think I want to do? The menswear lady cocks her head innocently to one side. Hey, this is happening in broad daylight. Poor Tesla becomes even more nervous when she sees the other person feigning innocence. Eh? The menswear lady cannot hold it in anymore. Without any hesitation, she begins laughing heartily towards the sky, and the previous feeling of tension and aloofness completely evaporates. You You scoundrel! What are you laughing at all of a sudden? Nothing in particular. The other woman tries hard to hold back her laughter. I just wanted to say something like that once in a while. And your response was really amusing. How could you be so cute? You pervert! Okay, so they have completely different... okay, I really thought for a second that they were kind of like enemies, but that did not make much sense, so... They just have also a very weird dynamic. But are we just going to ignore what Tesla said? Or did I read it wrong? Or did I just completely misunderstood? I'm confused. Guys. A few minutes later. I too understand the current situation. The menswear lady who had long since recovered her cool demeanor nods indifferently. The investigation will be left to you. Phew, phew, my students are simply terrific. The long-haired big sister makes an exaggerated motion to imitate the firing of a submachine gun. Yes, indeed. Especially that red-haired one. She seems full of fighting spirit now. That's a good look. You should keep it up. The menswear lady suddenly reaches out and pats Tesla's head before strutting away without so much as a second thought. Abominable. This woman... You wait and see. As payback for today's events, I must redouble my efforts. That person just now... She was a bit scary, wasn't she? Wade scratches his head, completely oblivious to the context underlying that entire interaction. Am I oblivious as well? Huh. Or is it literally that Nancy is teasing Tesla and they just did not get that point? I don't know. Nancy Thomas Alva Edison. Oh! The patron of the North American branch can be considered the actual person in charge. Interesting. Many people in private refer to her as Princess Nancy. Ugh, is it because she's always so overbearing and arrogant, so aggressive and moody? Not only that, thanks to her family, this person is very, 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 very rich. With much deliberation and contained anger, Tesla recites a total of 5 varies. It is fair to say that she bought out the entire North American branch. Ah, isn't she a very powerful person then? It should be said that she is more powerful than you could ever imagine. Red Twintails pouts with a slightly despondent expression. She is undoubtedly a genius, whether it be the art of invention or the art of business. She is still a genius. If you don't consider some of her other qualities, she is indeed an outstanding, extraordinary person. We have a conflict in ideologies, and on top of that, personal grievances. Anyway, forget it. It'll get annoying if you keep asking. Unfortunately, Tesla did suffer a bit during her internship under Edison. Oh. Let's just consider the two of them as having an ill-fated, star-crossed relationship. As Professor Planck explains, she takes her turn to pet Twintail's head. This time, she does not offer any resistance. Oh? Anyway, we should end discussion on this topic. Schrödinger's glances grudgingly at Tesla, pulls out her ID card and swipes it on the activating device of the elevator. Let's hurry up and enter the ruins. And while we were advancing toward the center to which all weight is drawn, I, shivering in that eternal cold shadow, I know not if it was will or destiny or chance. So cold, so cold! This is how it is with an open-top elevator. Please bear with it just a little longer. Ada, Assistant Belt, such a delicate flower already struggling at 5 degrees below zero. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in January when it's minus 20 degrees, just to see your reaction. Sorry, I really don't like the cold. Then work hard to train your body. At some stage, I want to take you to the Antarctic. Even you, Einstein. Even you. Huh. What What was that just now? Was it just him thinking? Huh. It kind of seemed like his another voice in his head. Maybe I'm just overthinking. This is... Although it is difficult for anyone, half frozen in the cold wind, to express any sort of emotion, Vel's eyes betray his great shock at the scene before him. Wait. A vault? It is a large, solemn, yet incongruous-looking door. The heavy-duty metal door is covered in many scratches, accumulated over many millennia, yet on the panel's surface, one can still clearly distinguish a line of simple but odd text. Ewa Dagami Tashihanu. Huh. For the next generation to fight, it is up to us. It is for the future that we must fight. That's an approximation of its meaning. It is for the future that we must fight. Interesting. Oh, I like that. All of the stuff with ancient civilization, like, that is so interesting. I have a huge interest in like mysteries or just like theories, and like I'm not thinking that any of the crazier theories or something are true, but I am always interested in all of that, you know? Like it's just interesting to think what if, or you know, also the thought of what if we interpret something that we've discovered completely wrong. Like, that's such an interesting thought to me. I love mysteries. The Finn's voice became a little tense and excited. Truly a professional. You can even translate it directly. Well. The librarian scratches his head, embarrassed. It's just that, compared to the others, I have access to research materials that are a lot closer to the original source, I guess. Besides, if it is an audio-visual resource, I can only ask my student, someone better qualified, to interpret in my stead. Ask a student? Even then, you are already talented enough. After all, humans cannot compete with machines. We digress. The long-haired big sister snaps her fingers. Shall we all enter, everyone? Oh my! I feel like we are definitely just exploring some ancient stuff, and that's, oh my god, I'm so excited. Walking through the ruins while chewing on a meaty burger for Welt, this is truly a novel experience. Yeah, true. The structure of the ruins is reminiscent of the ancient city of Petra, as seen in a certain... That music is kind of creepy. Creepy and scary. Interesting. Okay. The structure of the ruins is reminiscent of the ancient city of Petra, as seen in a certain geographic magazine or some dwarven city as described by Tolkien. In the huge underground cavern, high-powered floodlights, marked with the General Electric trademark, pour bright light upon both naturally formed stalactites and artificially carved buildings alike. Remnants of individual rooms are scattered about as though there were stars under a night sky. These structures are connected by an ancient plank walkways made from a metal resembling stainless steel, and the utilitarian industrial design of it all gives one a sense of solidity and reliability. That is so interesting. The crumbling fences and dilapidated walls, together with the scraped machine equipment form a complex labyrinth. The entire lamentful scene is reminiscent of Pompeii buried under volcanic ash. Oh my god, I love this. For a historian like Elias Nokian-Virtan, such a scene is undoubtedly eye-opening. In fact, he begins behaving like a child visiting a museum for the first time, excitedly taking notes, lying flat on the ground, observing various minutiae without any regard for his own dignity or the presence of others. Yeah, but honestly, I completely get that. That's amazing. Wait. Wow. M-I-L-A. What? I don't get him now, but with tomato sauce on his face, Dr. Nokian Virtanen is completely mind blown. Oh, isn't that a G-E-C-K? Spearing breadcrumbs from his mouth, Dr. Nokian Virtanen dances and gesticulates with joy. Look! There are formulas left on this blackboard! Alas, it is too faint and I can't get the general gist of it. Speaking of which, what was the name of that one theory you guys were studying? Something about theory? With cream-covered fingertips, Dr. Nokian Virtanen attempts to pull someone over. One after another, the girls begin to distance themselves from this man who has cast aside all self-restraint, probably because they cannot tolerate his wild enthusiasm. But it's understandable, is it not? Do you guys not think that's totally understandable? Schrödinger? Yes? This place is actually very sturdy in construction. After tucking away the wrapping paper from her eaten lunch, Mophead directs her searchlight towards a reinforced bracket at the top of the cavern. Most of these difficult-to-spot brackets are overgrown with stalactites, so it's clear that the supports are not modern creations. That makes it even more interesting! The corkscrew curl nods and rapidly devours the last piece of sandwich in her hand. That's right, the supporting structure is intact. There is no risk of falling rocks. So all this rubble at the bottom. The destruction must have been man-made, yes? Can't be wrong about that. Foreign invasion? Infighting? Infectious disease? Who knows? That would be the Finns. Schrödinger was midway through her response when Einstein suddenly places her index finger on her lips. You hear that? Seems like there is some noise. Oh? Schrödinger shakes her head. I can't hear anything either. Tesla speaks in a hushed tone. Oops. Can't you guys hear? Ah, yeah, please don't do that again. That sound. For you guys, I think it's not that loud, but that was a very tiny, but very sharp, piercing sound. A little bit like tinnitus, and that's exactly what I hear just now. Einstein closes her eyes, jams her pinky fingers into both ears, twists them around a few times, then suddenly pulls them back out. Nope, the noise is still there. I'm not hallucinating. But we really cannot hear anything, no? The Finn who had finally wiped his face clean stares blankly at Welt. Well, I can't hear anything either. Welt also shakes his head. Did Planck hear anything? Mosquito tone. Planck places a palm to her forehead. In fact, it seems to be an extremely high-frequency mosquito tone. Even Nicola cannot hear it anymore. Nicola? Can you tell where the source of the noise is, Lisa? I'll try. Mophead closes her eyes, places both hands to her ears. Oh my god, wait, doesn't this actually really make a lot of sense? I mean, I don't know if that's right, but I heard that younger people, like children, can hear higher frequencies than adults. Is that right? I mean, I think I've read something like that someday. So, with Einstein being the youngest here, and only her hearing it, that makes it even cooler if that is what that is about. Mophead closes her eyes, places both her hands to her ears, and concentrates on determining the direction of the tiny piercing noise. Tesla hurries forward and holds her arm, guiding her along the path. What's a mosquito tone? Welt has absolutely no idea what the scientists are busy doing this time. In simple terms, it's an ultrasound that only a miner can hear. Yes. It's most likely caused by some man-made facility that is still operational down here. Focused on helping Einstein, Tesla gives a few words of explanation without looking back at him. There is a wall in front. Be careful of the step. Wait, this is the dead end. We need a detour. Following Einstein's lead, the group slowly ventures into the depths of the ruins. Oh my god. Along the way, in addition to those baffling installations from the previous civilization, there are also many relics from more recent times. Numerous bones, unweathered and intact. early 19th century rifles, and even some tents that were apparently from the local Shoshone tribe. These. What are these? Even Welt understood that the rifle in front of him, along with the other objects, could not have been more than 200 years old. Don't know. The Finn shakes his head. At such a location underground, I cannot figure out how there could be traces of current civilization activity. Huh. Could it be an investigator previously hired by our organization? Impossible. I've never heard of our organization working with the indigenous tribe. I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Indigenous? Indigenous? So, has this place ever been used as a refuge by indigenous people? Do you think they could have had the ability to drain the lake above us? With the world always changing, perhaps at one point in time this lake did not exist? Even so, how did they get through that large front door, which literally required hydraulic pumps to breach from the outside? That's... yeah, shh. Plank makes a gesture, signaling them to please speak more softly. If you are really curious, I think there is a famous quote in the novel that fits the situation just now. Oh, I cannot speak French, if that is French. The humane... No, I'm sorry. No, okay, I wanna try. Le humane sagesse et toi to tirer dans ces deux mois? That is completely not what it means. I know, but bear with me, guys. Attendre et espérer? Et espérer? I have no idea what he's even saying. What she's saying. I'm sorry. I think this is the spot. Another wall door. Oh my god. The group has halted in front of a room deep in the ruins. Thank you for your effort. Cover your ears and rest a while. Leave the opening of the door to us. Planck urges Einstein, while at the same time studying the mechanism of the containment door. To everyone's surprise, the mysterious door opens with only a light tug from Planck. I'm not that rough a woman, you know. Nobody cares, Professor. What the... That's so cool. On the other side of the door is an abnormally clean room. On all four walls, some material resembling plastic wallpaper has already liquefied and crumbled away. But remarkably, the ivory-colored table in the center of the room is almost spotless. On the table sits a weird machine with many tubular protrusions. Within it, red and green fluorescent lights flicker incessantly. There shall be no more strange noises from now on. Schrödinger picks up the weird machine from the table and takes out a bar-shaped battery-like object from its base. From the look of its structural design, this should be an ultrasonic generator. I don't know how it could have remained functional for so long. Ultrasound. So the mosquito tone was just a secondary effect. Planck lifts a portable torch over her shoulder and looks back out towards the door. Lisa? Can you still hear that sound? No, it's gone. To show that she's indeed no longer affected, the girl walks through the door with her head raised. Wait, this is... Suddenly the girl's eyes widen. Aided by the torchlight on someone's shoulder, she's able to notice something on the ceiling. What? Oh my god! Huh? I think we are going to read this in the text, so... No, this can't be! This... The Finn, upon raising his head, exclaims in surprise. Isn't that English? Modern English, right? It's really true. That writing is... To the young ones who come here. I leave the last solium to you. Knight of the Maiden Castle. H. Londinium Doi A. What is this? Schrödinger? The machine you are holding. Is it missing something? Well, let me see. Corkscrew Ponytail places the mysterious machine on the ground and begins dismantling it. It should open up here. Oh, there's indeed a cavity in it, and a receptacle. An ultrasonic solium recorder? Tesla's eyes suddenly flash with excitement. It must be this H person who wants to entrust us with the data in solium. So, could it be some very important data? Schrödinger places the mystery machine back on the table, then gestures before the excited twin tails. It must be that H somebody had hidden it in a location that is more secure or better concealed, don't you think? So why did he or she do this? Wouldn't it be better to leave it intact if you want to give it to future generations to study? Maybe this person had some urgent reason to transfer the solium to a new location. By the way, guys, this music, it's so epic. I literally have chills since we saw that there was modern English on the... This is so amazing. This is awesome. I really feel like I'm in a mystery thriller or something like this. That's so cool. So you want to say that some ancient person had taken the solium and left this clue for us? Schrödinger shrugs her shoulders in a non-committal manner. In that case, shouldn't there be a clearer hint? And not some vague, ambiguous text? No matter how you look at it, it seems more likely that someone has stolen the solium and is now pulling our leg. Well, furthermore, according to this reasoning, we are not the first. Londonderry, a city in Northern Ireland. All of a sudden and out of the blue, the moped who had been silent all this time speaks up. The twin tail who had been lost for words has suddenly reached an epiphany. Oh. Yes! Londinium was the old name for London in ancient Rome. Interesting. Yeah? Wait, why Northern Ireland? Of all the places whose name includes the word London, only Londonderry has the nickname Maiden City, or Castle. This is because historically, it has never been... Oh. Frick, I was so into it. This is because historically it has never been captured by foreign enemies. Interesting. Incidentally, Dwar is also Gaelic for dairy, so that's double the evidence. Oh, that's it! Twintail looks admiringly at her roommate. That may be just a coincidence still. Schrödinger is still not particularly convinced. How in the world can there possibly be such a coincidence? From a mathematical perspective, don't even talk about it. Even the conception and birth of a person is a zero probability event. Don't talk to me about mathematics! What does this have to do with math? Seeing that the direction of the two girls' dispute has slowly deviated off track, Big Sister Plank deliberately clears her throat. At the moment, we cannot confirm anything yet. I do have an idea, but I don't know whether you'll agree. Before introducing her proposition, she gives Tesla a sly glance. What? I want to stay there. I want to see more. Oh my god. Late night the next day. On the flight back to London, a terminally bored Welt returns the playing cards to their box. One more round of that single-player game called Solitaire, and he felt he could vomit. Einstein again has a book covering her face, and Tesla is again asleep and sprawled all over his seat. As for the Finn who was there before, he is no longer on this plane at all. Oh, he stayed. After today's investigation, I suggest that we divide our troops to follow two paths. The previous day, at the cavern beneath Yellowstone Park, Professor Big Sister proposed the idea. The Lab 42 team shall return to London to investigate the clues of this certain H.A person. We, the North American branch, shall continue to excavate these historical ruins. It'll be better for Dr. Nokian Vitan to stay here and aid us. Your translation skills will be even more useful here. That should be no problem, as long as both Einstein and Tesla agree. It won't be a bad idea to leave the expert on ancient writing with us. It seemed that even Schrödinger was quite satisfied with this arrangement. No problem from our side as well. On the other hand, Tesla was all too eager to speak on behalf of Lab 42. In addition, I have already spoken with Edison and I will return to the headquarters as soon as possible to report on behalf of the North American branch. Conveniently, I'll be on the same flight as Lab 42. Oh! Huh? Schrödinger was apparently unaware of this. Shouldn't she attend the debriefing in person? To let our Princess Nancy go and meet the council. I don't have to say anything, and you can probably imagine the scene that would cause. The long-haired professor laughed bitterly. Recently, there have been more and more conflicts between our branch and headquarters. If I go in her stead, the communication will run just a little smoother. That just sounds like a procrastination tactic. The corkscrew ponytail sighed. Since Her Royal Highness made the branch a business, we have not had a good relationship with that group of old codgers. They seem to be friendlier even with the Soviets. Big Sister shrugged. But to be honest, in their eyes, being who they are, the nation, the economy, and other such things from surface society, these are all but simple toys to them. After all, they seem to think that only the Valkyries can really solve problems. Oh! Oh! That is really interesting. It would be nice if the efficiency of the prototype mecha can be increased 2 to 3-fold. Planck reassuringly patted Schrödinger's head. As long as we continue to make such advances in our technology, our delaying tactics will not be in vain. Ah, so bored. You, won't you come play with your sister? At some point in time, the long-haired big sister had leapt into the seat next to the young man. Forgive me, but I must refuse. It seems that the young man's social status has not yet reached the bottom of the food chain. Ada, why am I so quickly despised? The other person plays around with the hair by her ear and pouts delicately. Who are you to blame? Just a while ago you pulled me over to tell me a bunch of really bad jokes. Don't tell me you still wish to continue. Scientists clearly have all kinds of hobbies. The long-haired big sister puts on a pitiful face. Compared to eating, drinking, whoring, gambling, and so on, what is it to occupy you with a little joke? From my perspective, is it because you only have my students in your heart? You despise your big sister for being too old, don't you? No, that's not true. Why would you think so? Then come and play with me. So, Professor, can you at least explain what you want to play? What sorts of things would a little brother be interested in? Since the others are sleeping, how about we go on a date? Huh? What are you saying just now? What? Is there something with your big sister that you're not satisfied with? This is not a question of being satisfied or not. But after we get off the plane, won't we be going off on our own separate path to do our own separate things? That's right. So? The older sister smiles mysteriously, then tears off a few pages from her notebook and begins scribbling. Will you be able to protect the girls? If it comes to that, if it's something within an ordinary man's ability, no. That will not be enough. We assume that there is indeed a person from the past, the so-called HA, who took the Solium steel from the ruins of Yellowstone and intentionally left clues behind. In that case, there's one thing that we can determine here. He or she must have felt that it was not safe for the Solium to remain there. Moreover, even moving it to the United Kingdom and hiding it properly is not enough. Also, they felt the need to leave behind enough clues for future generations to inherit their own cause. So here comes the question. What kind of conflict of interest is it that would make someone go to such lengths to do this? It's hard to say. Does the other party have a corresponding successor? Is it some organization that cannot be opposed by one person alone? Well said. So, an organization that cannot be withstood by a single person and that is also interested in Solium. In the world that we know of today, what are the possible answers? Oh, I only know of one, but I also know of only one answer. Do you mean... Ooh, Before the young man can utter a sound, the slender forefinger of the long-haired big sister is placed gently upon his lips. She gracefully moves her body, switches to the other side of Welt, and sits down in a more discreet location. Red lips linger near his eyes, and titillating whispers tease and tantalize his imagination. Should we speak in whispers? It's just some private words between the two of us. Wow. Merry Christmas. Okay, guys. The last conversation. Did they both mean Schicksal? Do they both mean Schicksal is the one? Ha. Ha. Oh, that's interesting. Because we've only ever heard of did we only hear Schicksal so far? I don't know. But it would make sense for... Oh, but Plank is so smart. I love her so much. And I hope Welt will also fall for her charms. That is my hope, though. But what did you guys think of these two chapters? I love them. I really felt like I was just trying to explore those ancient ruins and find more clues about this ancient civilization. That is so interesting, and I'm really, really excited what else will come and will happen. Because she asks him to protect the girls. And they have this really big enemy if they get to secrets that they don't want anyone to know, right? This is going to be dangerous and I'm scared. I am really scared for Welt. I'm scared of Tesla. For Tesla and for Einstein. I cannot even talk anymore. Oh my god. It's really incredible. And it's really curious. Guys, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It would really make my day. And I hope you're having as much fun as I have. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!